Hey everyone, Ryan at Commando Culture. Today we got Mindset Monday, so I'm gonna go over a couple things here, throw them out at you, give you that stuff, the thoughts I got going in my head, what's going on, start talking about that mindset. So today I want to talk about professionalism, mastery, and then just paying attention to the details, right? We're trying to become that person that we want to be. We're trying to build that character. We need to have our actions, our thoughts, all that stuff needs to line up to what we're doing, and we want to be the person that we are trying to get to. We want to be something that everyone around us looks at and is like, man, they're on top of it, right? So in order to do that, we have to start finding ways to practice these skills, to practice getting the right thoughts, to practice taking these actions that are maybe above and beyond what you normally do. So for me, and kind of what we're talking about we're talking about practicing those skills that are required in a very specific thing in this mission that we want to do. And what we're going to be doing is endurance sports. Not just endurance sports, we want to find something that's competitive, right? We want to get something out there that scares us, something that we think we can't complete or do. And we want to kind of figure out how to like set that up. What are our goals? What do we have to do? And chip away at it every day. Going to the gym is great, using the elliptical, all that stuff, like any type of fitness, if you're out there doing it, is good. You need to be doing that. But there's just something special about endurance sports. And when I say endurance sports, it's not like I guess it depends on who you are, where you're at, but I'm gonna say it's not like a 5K, something like that. We want something bigger than that. We want something where to get there and be able to finish that event and complete that mission, you've got to throw yourself out there. You got to get some skin in the game. So we're talking about longer events, 3 hours, something like that. That's like right now, if you're sitting there like me on the sofa, you're like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do a 3 hour mountain bike ride or 3 hour, trail run, but you can. You got to chip away at it, and it's about doing it the right way. Just because you're starting off, over here at this point, and in your mind you're like, well, all I got to do is kind of get out, do some work, and slowly do it, and eventually I'll get there. You can think that way, but we're trying to be professional about it and master these skills. So to do that, we have to start doing a little bit more tracking and attention to detail with what we do. Every one of us deserves to be treated like a professional, to be treated like the elite, but we can't do that, and you can't expect it if you don't start treating yourself that way too. So with your training, talking about professionalism, tracking your stuff, I'll give a little story from back in the commando culture in those days, and help carry that over. So as a young Marine in the infantry, if you had a training thing you're going on or whatever you're doing, you'd get a packing list and the warning order that you'd get. It's like gear comments all. So you have to have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all this stuff. So you would have this, gear inspection. Your team leader would inspect you first. You'd lay all this gear out, on the little common area for your company. Team leader would go through, check and make sure you had everything. Then eventually, your platoon sergeant or your squad leader would come through next, do the same thing. Then your platoon sergeant is a big ordeal, but you're a private or lance corporal or whatever it was. So they're inspecting it to make sure that you have the right gear. That was the building block. It never really sunk into my head about what that was professionalism, right? Like checking your stuff every single time. I saw that again when I kind of got into special operations. We were going to do a training thing, and it was the first time I was going out with the organization I was at, and we got the brief and everything was good. And so everyone kind of goes back and, there's a timeline. So our next timeline to be loaded up is, in 2 hours, right? And so we got that. I went back to my team room and I kind of go out into the common area, and all these guys have all their stuff just on the ground, like each little thing, like each piece of gear laid out, and they're going through all of it, right? And these are guys that have been in special operations 16 years. They've done, 12, 16, 20 combat deployments. They're sergeant majors, they're master sergeants. These are experienced commandos, and everything. All right, so I just did this race this last weekend, and before going out there, I did my own inspection, right? So here is my printed out, this is my common gear list that I always have in that bag. I can take away stuff, I can add to it, but this is what is always packed. It says where it always is. That way I know where it is. The beauty about making your own gear list is when you're starting to do stuff like this, starting to get outside, if you're going backpacking, trail running, you have all these things. How do you know what worked, what didn't work, what you have to do to create more efficiency if you don't have a list. This is your starting point. To get more efficient, more reliable, you need to have this to kind of track and make changes. If you just do it haphazard, your performance is going to be haphazard. So that is that professionalism, that attention to detail, that nuance that, helps you become that person. These type of things, these gear lists, the way that you think about it, the way you go through it, this mindset, the thoughts, the actions, it's building that character of that commando culture that we want to be. This translates into everything else that you're doing. Once you start developing these habits, you can cross over to different areas of your life. That's why it's so important. That's why I'm preaching this, the right mindset. This is the right mindset. Today we're talking about professionalism and mastery. Master your skills, be a professional, do your due diligence, take that extra step, just like these packing lists. Think about what you're doing when you're doing it, have a plan, write it down. At the end of it, look at what you did, conduct an after action review, see what worked, what didn't work, adjust it, try it, test again. All right, guys, that's all I got.